Super evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday family meeting. So I have always started these meetings with the intention of why we are doing this meeting every single week. So we have at least I have been teaching cinema for almost a decade, and many of us we have met at different phases of my personal journey. And since then, we have gotten connected through cinema, and we are working together. There are a lot of people who come in, and after a point of time, they get busy with something else, or they kind of drift away from cinema. But then again, after some time, they even get back. So I have been doing this for the last 1 decade. So we have so many people that our community has reached out to. It can be from the first 1 day workshop or the weekend workshops, or then we came up with 1 week workshop, 1 month workshop, and now we have 3 hour workshops, 5 day workshops, 2 week intensives, and then we have all silver, gold, CD Superstars Club, Diamond Community. So we have various categories in which we have met people, discussed cinema with them. We have done exclusive editing workshops, writing workshops. So this family meeting every Thursday between 8:15 to 8:45 is going to be one common platform where we are all going to connect together across all these different groups, and we are going to discuss something about cinema. We are going to like interact with each other. We are going to connect with each other and keep the momentum going. Whatever filmmaking momentum you gained when you came into the community, whatever filmmaking passion you have, it has to be honed, it has to be nurtured, and it has to be grown into a full-blown entity. So right now, everyone who are part of Cine Superstars Club, we catch up every week, 3 times, and we discuss so much. Today we discussed a beautiful film called Drishyam. We discussed a beautiful film called Paroksh, which is by Drishyam Films. So we discuss cinema, discuss our own films, we discuss a lot of amazing films. So at the highest level, the Cine Superstars Club community, we are connecting on a weekly basis, 3 times a week, 1 hour, and we are discussing cinema. But even if you are not able to join that right away, it's okay. At least connect once in a week with the community and keep that flame burning, keep that momentum going, so that whenever you are ready, you can join the next level, whichever level you are currently in. From there, you can move on to the next level and take your journey forward. That's the intention of these meetings. So we have almost 19 people who have joined today. So the first activity we are going to do today is, these meetings are not just for me to come and share some gyan, me to come and share some updates about the community, but I want all the members to interact with each other, to communicate with each other, to network with each other, to make friends with each other. So we do this activity of getting into breakout rooms and discussing with each other every day in our Cine Superstars Club community. But here we have so many different people from so many different workshops that we are conducting. So I want you also to just at least say a hi to each other and get to know what you are currently doing with respect to cinema. See, many people say that they are passionate about cinema. In that, a handful of people take action. In that, a handful of people are consistent. In that, a handful of people are ready to do whatever it takes. And at the end of the day, cinema is such a competitive field that unless you are ready to do whatever it takes, nothing is going to move forward. So talk to each other, discuss with each other what is currently your stage. What are you currently doing with respect to cinema? And get motivated from each other, get inspired from each other, connect with each other quickly, and discuss with each other and come back. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to get into the breakout rooms and talk to each other. So once you come back, we'll talk about a little bit about budgeting for films. So let me open the breakout rooms. Just give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 minutes. So we are going to put 3 to 4 people in a room. So please discuss amongst yourselves. Let people know which part of the community you are in, which stage of the community you are in, and discuss amongst each other. Okay, the breakout rooms are open. Please go into the breakout rooms, guys. Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. So how was the discussion? Put it in the chat box. How was the discussion? I realized that for family meeting, we have to open big breakout rooms with more participants. Then I think it will be more fun. How was the discussion? Was it interesting? Put it in the chat box quickly. Very interesting, says Umesh. So see, with experience is what we learn everything. So I was thinking like with small groups that we do in our Cine Superstar Club anyways. So here we can make big groups and see how a lot of people discuss with each other. Awesome. Anyways, so let's get going. We have less time. So Ashok had asked me to talk about budgeting in cinema. So this will be a detailed session in our Cine Superstars Club sometime later. But I wanted to talk about it a bit because I think I was telling someone today, I think in the morning meeting, I was discussing about this. In cinema, at the end of the day, cinema as an art form is a very business oriented art form. If you have to survive in this industry, you have to be able to make money out of it. You have to be able to invest money on it. You need money at each and every stage. Even to attend our workshops today, people are spending lakhs. So you learn cinema and then you make cinema and then you sell cinema. So everywhere money is involved. So the most important thing to understand is let's make it a series of points. See, whatever budgeting I am going to talk about, it's just from my decade-long experience of managing filmmaking budget as an independent filmmaker. And there is no one way to do it. Like I told you, in independent filmmaking, we do film in various ways. And at the end of the day, people are not going to bother how you made the film. The end product is what is going to matter for them. But when you do it the traditional way, in your, if you remember in our 3-hour workshops or in the like first and second level workshops, I would have spoken about how the films that I have done, people from the traditional industry assumed I had spent in lakhs, but we would have probably spent 1,000, 2,000, or 5,000 max on a film. How this happens is when you have money and when you decide to approach it in the traditional way, finding the people for every job, normally what happens in cinema is the producer and he sits with some production managers. At least this is how we had a discussion when we started looking for producers for some of our films. We discuss with production managers who have managed the production aspect for films, and we discuss with them and we explain them the story. We tell them the entire setup and they start giving us numbers. This is how this part is going to cost. This is how much this part is going to cost. This one will cost this much. So based on that, we do a rough budgeting. And with that number in mind, we go and talk to people, we go and talk to potential producers. Of course, everywhere there will be a plus or minus factor, there will be buffer, all these things will be there. But based on the inputs from the production manager, because when we started out looking for producers, we were relatively new. We didn't know how to go about it. So we hired, we reached out to certain production managers through our friend circle who are already working as production managers in cinema. But here, you are at the mercy of a production manager. So if you get someone through your contacts, through the best of contacts also, if you don't know how money is getting spent on a cinema set, you will be at the mercy of someone else. But as an independent filmmaker, when we are approaching short films, I'll tell you how we go about tracking money. See, the first rule of thumb that we use is every single penny that we spend, we should spend it in such a way that it is seen on the screen. Type C if this is clear, guys. When you are spending money on food during a shoot, you can go to a Pizza Hut and spend in thousands, or you can find a decent food outlet near your place where there is decent food, basic food, hygienic food, and limited food, so that on the day of the shooting, people are not having a feast or anything. They are just having basic food and they are focused more on work. And basic hygiene is important, but every like place will have neighboring places where you get such food. So I go talk to them beforehand. I make arrangements for food beforehand so that on the day of the shoot, that doesn't become an issue. And the second thing I do is I myself don't do the production management for a film. I give that responsibility to someone else. Then coming to the actors, coming to the technical team, it's always better to discuss beforehand with them what is the budget you can accommodate for them to avoid confusion in the future meetings. Once you get into a project and you have not discussed money, it's always a very uncomfortable thing to work together. So we normally, like even now in our Cine Superstars Club community, I ask people to clearly mention in the poster itself that it is an unpaid project. Why? Because we have to clearly tell what are the expectations people should have coming into the project. Then how I track money in a project, I'll tell you. So normally we all, at least the members who are in the advanced levels of cinema, you will understand what are the different aspects that go into the film. So I always tell this one thing: pre-production is the most important thing for a film. So in the pre-production stage itself, we start breaking down the film into all the three areas: pre-production, production, and post-production. And then we start breaking them down to such basic level that we start getting to understand how many days the shoot is going to happen, how many different costumes are needed, what kind of locations are needed, and what kind of camera we are going to use, what kind of lights we are going to hire, what is the kind of technical crew or the generator set or the lighting setup that we are going to bring for the film. And mainly, if we need additional actors who we call junior artists, how many of them we will need. And of course, like I told you, the production part, the basic food and the transport. So we start breaking these things down. And as an independent filmmaker, you negotiate at every place. You talk to each and everyone and you get a rough figure beforehand. So I just go with basic common sense, basic, like, see, first thing is understand this. There are so many people in cinema who have been supremely talented, but because they were not good at money management, even in their old age, they are still poor, though they have done a lot of films. Or there are people who have died with no one to take care of them. Why? Because their money mindset or their money management skills is very weak. So understanding how to manage your income and expenditures at a basic level. Like every month, most of our community members are working professionals. So every month when you get the salary, how much goes into savings, how much goes into investments, how much we are spending. So all these things, I'm sure how many of you track this, guys? Type me in the chat box. How many of you have a tracking system for this? How many of you have a tracking system for this? So let me just show you my tracking system. So I just showed you how I track. Of course, because I have been a software engineer and I have worked with Excel, so I use Excel. John is saying I'm using digital payment, which is an app or an application where you can track this. So there are, of course, a lot of amazing applications to track the expenditure, to track the different things that you do on a daily basis. But the same habit I use in cinema also. So whenever I am budgeting for a film, one thing is, even in our films, be it Virgin Vaishali or be it The Biggest Tea, which are our latest projects, we were not able to 100% predict the exact duration of the shoot. We thought that it will be completed in 2 days for Biggest Tea, but it went to 3 days because the number of shots we took and a lot of things. And for Biggest City, we spent around 35 to 40,000 per day for the shooting process. But like I told you, I have been doing this for a long time and I have a lot of experience on managing various things. When you start, initially, at least in our community, what we do is we keep the expenditure to minimal. We keep the expenditure to minimal, but we focus on tracking the expenditures using any system they are comfortable with. Like they can do a hard copy of all the expenses that is happening, or they can create an Excel sheet of all the expenses that's happening. Whatever system you use, but you start tracking it. In smaller films, what happens is the expenditure will be not so high. it will be manageable, but you make the habit of tracking the money. And then, of course, when we are discussing the films, when we are discussing the pre-production aspects, we talk about what all art work is needed, what all logistics are needed, and what are the different locations that we might need, and we try to keep it contained. But if you go out, if you decide to go out and shoot, like I told you, in independent filmmaking, we reach out to friends, family members, neighbors, people who we know. So we don't actually have expenses there. We just have to make sure we leave the place in the right way. The main expenses that we do is basically the basic expenses like food, and sometimes even participants, when they come to a shoot, they take care of their accommodation, they take care of their travel. So we manage the expenses in a very minimal way. Of course, there is money being spent. Everyone is spending to come to a location. Everyone is spending on whatever they are spending on the way for food and everything. But what we spent on the cinema is a very minimal cost. But if you start tracking all those things, even our films will not definitely be 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. We can track that money and we can come up with a number which will be much bigger. But because so many people are doing it together, it becomes negligible. How many of you randomly, when you go out, spend 1,000 or 2,000, just like that? When you go out with the family, how many of you spend maybe $1,000 or $2,000? When you go on like go to a multiplex to watch a film, or go out with friends for a party, we spend that. So here participants are spending to learn cinema. They are coming together, they're traveling, they're of course traveling and having fun with a lot of people. All those things are happening. At the same time, they are getting an opportunity to learn cinema. This is the best advantage of having a community. If one person has to invest on a film, if one person has to sponsor for all the people coming together, just imagine how we will manage the budget. But because here so many people are involved and so many people are motivated to learn cinema, the budget is getting distributed. So even in our Cine Superstars Club pitch, if you remember, I told you how the system I have created for making the feature film is. I'm using a similar system where participants are investing to learn cinema, but using that I'm making the film. And because I'm making the film, people are getting an opportunity to work in cinema. And overall, we are creating a self-sustainable model where people are not spending money just like that. They are learning because of their investment, and we are able to make films like that. So here, the traditional budgeting will not come into picture at all. We don't rely on anyone for helping us with budgeting. I have been doing this for 10 years and I have a very healthy tracking habit, and I have the experience of managing money in every aspect. Like I told you, we normally don't reach out to people for many things. We do it ourselves, be it editing, color correction, sound design. We do many things ourselves. So the budget becomes very minimal. Physical money that we spend on the film becomes very minimal. So initially, when you get started, this is what I would suggest to each one of you to keep in mind. Don't go hiring people before you learn the art form, at least the basics. Why? Because people see, when I went to get the color correction done for a 3-minute project, someone asked me 8,000. When I went to color correct, get my biggest T film, which is around 11 minutes color corrected, they demanded 30,000. So when you go to good talents or technical people in the industry who are like having a good reputation and all, obviously the budget will also be according to their stature in the industry. So initially, when you are learning cinema, I would not want you to take that route, because like I told you in the 3-hour workshop itself, I teach independent filmmaking, where you learn the basics, you make at least 10 to 20 short films, and then you start outsourcing your job to other people. Type 100% if this is clear, guys. So initially, you don't worry about budgeting and all. Just focus on how you can create these films, the basic films that we are doing as a part of the community now with minimal budget. Even recently in the adult cinema episode 4, we had some properties, we had some different things that we created. So I have even made some new making videos for our Cine Superstars Club community. We are just yet to upload it, where we try to bring down the expenditure a lot through our experience, because we have this community and I am guiding these people, I try to bring down the expenses with a lot of DIY techniques. So that's how you have to think initially. But once you get into traditional filmmaking, at least in our community, I don't want that to happen. Like I told you, I have already told this vision to a lot of people in the Cine Superstars Club community. Whatever we are doing this year, the feature film is just going to be the first of many films to come within the community. So we are always going to keep it like an independent filmmaking structure. We are going to work together as a community where we bring more people who are passionate about cinema into the community. We teach them filmmaking, we give them an opportunity to work in films, and at the same time, through the funds we raise, we make film. So once this system starts taking off, I'm sure we would not be needed to get into the traditional system. Traditional system, it's like any other business. Like if you go to bigger brands, how much will you pay for a shoe? If you go to a local brand, how much will you pay for a shoe? So if you ask me what is the cost of the shoe, I'll ask you which brand you want to buy. Type MS if this is making sense, guys. So I can't tell you, okay, for a feature film, this is the budget you are going to make the film in. It doesn't work that way. It's a case-to-case basis. If I'm making this magnitude of film, or the camera quality is at this level, the visual quality is at this level, a certain budget. If I'm going to do at a different level, a different budget. If I'm going to bring Shah Rukh Khan, it's a different budget. If I'm going to bring a new actor, it's a different budget. So how can you say this is going to be the budget of the film? There is no, and also a lot of goodwill, a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships come into picture. Many times, many people do things for free also. I have worked with so many amazing actors completely for free or at a very basic cost. So we don't say this is how you do budgeting for a cinema. It's basic budgeting that you do in your life, day-to-day life. But one thing I wanted to give in this meeting is take care of your money. Every penny that you spend has to be accounted for. Why? Because as the project gets bigger and bigger, your money has to be accounted very thoroughly. Else, what will happen? Many times, this is the issue I hear in the industry. People say that the film is going to cost 50 lakhs and then it becomes a 2 crore project. What will the person who decided to invest in the film do? He will be clueless because he prepared for 50 lakhs and you are saying 4 times the budget. Where will he go? The film will, he would have spent 50 lakhs, but nothing will happen with that film. It will stay in the box forever. So this problem, if you want to avoid from your day one, from your first short film, start making a track of how much money was spent. If you ask me how much money we spent in the month of August, in the week of August, on that particular day of August, I can immediately show you the Excel and I can calculate how much I spent that particular day. So that is the kind of tracking I do. So I want you guys also to practice this. That's the basic skill I want you guys to have. That is the most you can do with budgeting right now. If you have that skill, I'm sure you will be covered. And of course, like once you come into the community, even in the 2-week intensive, I make a detailed breakdown of how much people charge on an average for every aspect. So that knowledge also is enough to kind of come up with approximate number. But like I told you, we don't pay that number. We bargain, we work with friends, we work with known people, we borrow things from neighbors, we don't hire locations. So that's how we save money. So I would not ask you to focus on that unless you really are ready to go at that level. For now, you try to keep it zero budget, as in people coming together, they pull in things, they bring their own things, and we beg, borrow things from here and there and make the film happen. But gradually, we will there will come a time where you will have to get there, but that is for later. Is this clear, everyone? How does crowdfunding work? This is very simple, guys. Crowdfunding, there are many ways in which people do crowdfunding. Today, you all know of Milap and many other things that do crowdfunding for health and other things. But when it comes to cinema, there are certain incentives we pay them back. There are certain promises we make them. Even we were trying to make a crowdfunding project in 2020, just before COVID hit. So we come up with the action plan. If the film makes this much money, if the film makes this much profit, we are going to give this much percentage to people. if the film does a certain way, we will do. Recently in Kannada, there was a film called Daredevil Mustafa, which was based on a certain writer's novel. So all the fans of that writer came together and crowdfunded the film. And then one amazing actor in Kannada backed the project, and it became a huge hit also. But many times, if that's what in the advanced courses we talk about all these aspects. Without marketing, also films can get lost. So you need separate money for marketing. In this case, the film I am talking about, Daredevil Mustafa, there was an amazing actor called Dali Dhananjay who backed the project and who released the project under his banner, because of which it got a nice reception in the market. Similarly, Rakshit Shetty supports a lot of youngsters. Pawan Kumar has supported. So all these new age directors, they support. If you have done a great film, even PRK Studios, Puneet Rajkumar Productions, they have supported a lot of my friend circle only. I hear stories where these people have done the film and then taken to them. And because the film is good, they can get some kind of support. They buy it outright, or they take the film and then they distribute it on a partnership. So but the thing is, like I told you, anything that you are not going to use right away is unnecessary junk that you're storing in your mind. So I would say don't focus on it, because once you start thinking that way, you will not be able to start thinking the independent filmmaker way. Right now, I want you to spend money, but every single penny that you are spending should be seen on the screen. The business part of it, you're not going to do or think about it unless you make at least think of making a feature film. So for short films, especially till you get really good at it, you're not going to spend more money on it. Keep it simple. Maximum I have spent on a film is around 1.5 lakh, not more than that. Even the biggest projects that we have done. But I am very sure, damn sure, if the same project was done by a traditional filmmaker, it would have costed much, much higher. Because we have a certain system we follow, do things a certain way, we are able to bring down the cost to the bare minimum. In biggest city, how many of you loved that huge location which looks like some desert or some kind of deserted area? How many of you loved that location? Guess how much I would have paid that location? It was a government location. It's not like free. How much? What do you think I would have paid that location? The budget of that film was 1.5 lakhs. 1.25, not even 1.5. 5K says Ashok. It was 1,000 rupees. I paid 1,000 rupees for that location. So, like even in my weirdest dream, I would not have thought I would get that location for 1,000 rupees. I have paid 10,000 for the location also in the past, but it's so many things come into picture. That's what, there is no fixed number anywhere. It's all like how you go about it, what kind of relationships you build with people, what is your attitude, how you talk to people. So many things come into picture. So I paid just 1,000 rupees, and the other beautiful house, the dilapidated house or the village house kind of thing that you see, that I paid 800 rupees. Both were like, I was blown away. How can I get a location? I was ready to pay 10,000 and all, but I got a location for 800 rupees. I was blown away. I think like we paid something extra, just just as a goodwill, we gave something. We didn't pay. We paid 800 only, but we gave something extra to the family because it was like mind-blowing deal for us as a filmmaking team. So it can happen. Anything can happen in independent filmmaking when you go with that attitude. If you are ready to pay money everywhere, people, you will attract the same kind of people who will demand money also. So initially, remember, every penny you spend should be seen on the screen. Where was that location? It was near Hoskote, which is the outskirts of Bangalore. So I think I have documented that in the bonuses, so you can check it out. Actually, that's what, there is a story behind it. So I have documented it. You can check it out. Awesome. So that's about budgeting, guys. I hope this gives you some clarity on how to think about budgeting. But one suggestion, if you ask me right away, what you can do about handling money in cinema, start putting your expenses, start putting everything that you earn and that you save, that you invest on an Excel sheet. That is a really good habit. I teach a lot about it in a checklist module and all, where I talk about various kinds of checklists we create. Start with that, and gradually, as you move to bigger films, we'll do more budgeting. Now, I'll leave you with one last amazing announcement. Just give me a second. We are starting a new initiative from tomorrow. So almost 8 people have completed their debut direction project in the Cine Superstars Club community, and 14 other people are ready to start their debut directional journey with the 2 new conclaves very soon. So, what we have come up with right now is every Friday from 8 to 8:45, 8:30, 8:45, we are going to be bringing one director and the film team, and we are going to interview them about how their journey has been, how they learned cinema, how they are growing in the community. So we are going to listen it from the participants' point of view. So we are starting, actually, we have done one interview in the past with Suresh. We might redo that also again. But tomorrow we are interviewing one of our active community members, Mekala, who is a teacher by profession. So tomorrow, 8 to 8:30 p.m., I'll be sharing the YouTube live link with each one of you. So make sure you check out these interviews to get more motivated, more inspired. Can you all type F in the chat box, guys? It's on Friday. It's on Friday. Every Friday between 8 to 8:30, 8:45, these interviews will happen on Golden Age Film House YouTube channel. We'll be going live and we'll be doing these interviews. So looking forward to see you all joining the interviews. The idea is once we start bringing the entire community back into these meetings, I want to bring all my celebrity friends also into these interviews. But for that, we need to come together as a community and increase the number of people joining and attending these sessions and asking questions, talking to people. So please join the interview live and support all these young and upcoming directors. So we'll catch up tomorrow in the YouTube live between 8 to 8:30. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Thursday evening. So tomorrow evening, we are going to see you in the Friday meeting. So it's going to be every Friday we are going to do this. So we are going to discuss cinema. Looking forward to see you all. Yeah, my Ranjan is saying tomorrow is National Cinema Day. Oh, see, I didn't think of it. That's a great day to start our new initiative. So this is called Let's Discuss Cinema. I used to do this 2 or 3 years back. Now we are bringing it back. Okay. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. Let's catch up again next Thursday in the family meeting. But tomorrow we'll see you all in the YouTube link. Thank you guys. Good night.